In today's lesson, we'll be learning about the cosine law. In a previous lesson, we learned that this is a rearranged version of the cosine law, and it is used to find an unknown angle. We also use this arrow to help us better understand it. I'm going to start by replacing some of these variables with numbers. Uppercase C is the tip of the arrow, and this is the unknown angle that we're looking for, so I'm just going to leave that alone. Lowercase a is a side of the arrow, and I'm going to replace that with the number 10. Lowercase b is the other side of the arrow, and I'm going to replace that with the number 13. And last, lowercase c is the end of the arrow, and I'm going to replace that with the number 12. You'll notice that this looks a little bit strange. This looks like a very large number. However, there's actually multiplication signs in between these numbers, and you can use a little dot instead of a multiplication sign. At this point, we'll need to use Bedmass, which is the order of operations. Let's start with the letter B, brackets. We don't have any brackets here, so we can skip that. Next, the letter E is exponents. We have an exponent here, here, and here. We're not doing anything with cos C, so let's just leave it exactly the same. 10 to the power of 2 is 10 times 10, which is 100. Next, 13 to the power of 2 is 13 times 13, which is 169. And next, 12 to the power of 2 is 12 times 12, which is 144. Everything on the bottom, we haven't touched it, so that's going to remain the same. The next letter in Bedmass is D, which is division. I don't see any division yet, so we can move on to multiplication. And I see multiplication right over here and here. So 2 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 13 gives us 260. Everything else remains unchanged. The last steps in Bedmass are adding and subtracting. I see addition right over here and subtraction right over here. I'm going to do them at the same time. 100 plus 169 subtract 144 gives us 125. Now, I know that we already passed division earlier, but a fraction is the same thing as division. So we can take 125 and divide it by 260. 125 divided by 260 gives us approximately 0.48. Now, this number looks a little bit strange. We're looking for an unknown angle. Could it be possible that this angle is 0.48 degrees? This is definitely not a reasonable angle, so we need to use this button on our calculator, cos -1. Now, depending on the calculator you're using, you might have to press the second button first, the inverse button, or the shift button. Again, depending on the type of calculator you have, you might have to put this number in first, then press this button, or press this button first, then put in this number. You should get approximately 61.3 degrees. And that definitely seems like a much more reasonable angle in that triangle.